All right, welcome everyone to Between Dimensions with Twin Essence. I'm Lacey. And I'm Marley, and we're your Starseed Lightworker hosts. As collective ascension guides, we are always navigating our 3D and 5D worlds. In other words, we're between dimensions, learning to embody our multidimensionality just like you. During Between Dimensions, you get the best of both worlds, 5D conversations in a 3D format. In this episode, we are joined by Mario Radinger. Mario is a quantum hypnotist, Akashic Records reader, and author. We'll be digging into Mario's spiritual journey as well as his work with quantum hypnosis. Welcome, Mario. We are so happy to have you here for this conversation today.
Thank you so much. Hi, Lacey. Hi, Marley. Thank you for having me on your broadcast today. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. We are going to start with a spiritual topic question. So if you are joining us live, we have no clue what time of the day it is in your part of the world. It's very early for us. It's afternoon for Mario. But feel free to put your answer to this question in the live chat. And if you're watching the replay later, you can always put it in the comments below. But we are going to start with the topic question, which is what is one place in nature that you feel connected to something bigger than yourself? Mario, we'll start with you with that question first.
I would say definitely the mountains. Yeah,
Okay. And you live in the mountains, right?
I do. Yeah.
Drawn
Yeah.
there for a reason.
Yes, definitely. And surprisingly, because for a long time I thought I was a beach person, a water person, and turns out I'm not. I'm actually a mountain and forest, I should say, mountain and forest person.
That's so interesting. I was going to say my answer to this question is whenever I am on the lake. So we are fortunate
Mm,
enough that we have family that have a cabin on a very small lake in northern part of the state. And I grew up on lakes. We both did. I'm a lake person. Much prefer freshwater over ocean, actually.
yes, I can relate. Give me a mountain lake anytime over a sandy beach.
I agree. Yep, I would say lake for me too. And I was telling Lacey too, like, because we ponder these questions, right? Like that's why we have these questions. And I like also can think about like times I've traveled, where I've been places where I've been like, this is really something.
Mm,
And I know like when we were in Scotland and we went to like the Highlands, like we were over by like Three Sisters Mountains, those were incredible. Like I thought that was quite normally I don't connect to mountains, I feel like as much, but that was incredible in Scotland. I also think because you mentioned forest, Mario, and that's so true because last year we went to BC in Canada
mhm.
and we were on this incredible like what is it, Lacey? Like the university uses it for like forestry and like yeah, it's like it was just like untouched, like an untouched park that we were staying on where like they don't it had a
Right.
lake, but they don't allow like motors or boats, and it was just
Mm,
very um it was
pure.
just so expansive. Yeah, so pure. Yeah, and that was really like I remember like when we did the nature walk
Nice.
there, like they have those like signs that talk about like the ice age and like prehistoric life, and I was like, man, this is like really ancient, like where we're walking.
Yeah, those places, they're so sacred. And it's such a privilege to have an opportunity to go there. So I can only imagine that was quite incredible. I've never been to Canada and not to Scotland yet,
Mm,
but I want to for sure. Ireland is one of my favorite countries ever, and Scotland is like next on my list. Have to go there.
yes. We did Ireland 2024? Yeah, 2024. And that
Mm,
was incredible.
cool.
Like Ireland was also incredible. Like
Right.
we went to some pretty amazing. I feel like we didn't even get to like, like you go to certain, you're there for like 10 days or whatever. And like, I'm like, I still need to get to like the northern part of the country. Like there's so many
Mm.
places I want to go yet in Ireland.
Oh, it's magical. My sister lives in the northern part of Ireland.
Mm.
What an incredible place. You have to go there.
It's
Yeah.
it's it's beautiful. Yeah, I felt like we could have. we could have like lived there. I felt very like comfortable in Ireland. Like it felt very familiar. Whereas
It
like
did.
we do a lot of traveling, but Ireland was one of those places where we have to like it's like we have to go back. Yes.
Yeah, I can relate. There are only a few places on this planet I've been to. Of course, there are many I have not. But when I stepped out of the plane, I felt immediately at home.
Mm.
And Ireland was or is one of those places for sure.
Yeah. So let's dive into the interview questions.
All
We
right.
love an origin story. So we always start off with origins. We want to hear about your like spiritual origins, how you connected to QHHT and kind of kicked off your awakening.
Hmm. Okay. Well, in my case, I would say that QHHT was actually the kickstart of my
Okay.
spiritual journey, my conscious spiritual journey, I would say. Um, through my best friend. My best friend at the time, still today, sent me a video of Dolores Cannon. And that was, I believe, 2011, 2012, I think. And when I saw this video and listened to what she was saying, I was immediately gobsmacked. And something touched me and told me through my inner voice, I have to learn what this woman is doing. And that started it all, I would say. From then on, it went really quickly into a lot of layers, you could say, and I started practicing as well. So this is when I came in touch with a lot of spiritual topics. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you start with her like taking her training, or did you actually like have your own session where you were being led through the hypnosis?
I had my own session before I started practicing.
Okay,
Yes, for
cool.
sure. Yeah, that was important to me. I wanted and needed to know what it feels like before working with others. And it was quite a profound experience that still influences me to this day. I will never forget it. And yeah, it made me even more motivated to pursue this path because I experienced firsthand what potential this work has. Yeah.
Mm.
That's great. So did you feel like you were already very intuitive or open before QHHT, or is this just something that you feel like really initiated it? Like there was a separation of these paths of yours?
Well, there were definitely hints or breadcrumbs, as I like to call them. As a child, I was very sensitive, very empathic. At the time, it was not always easy to handle, but there was no awareness. So it was just what I knew. Later, of course, I understood these facets more and more, and now I know how to handle them. I was, as a child, weirdly interested in witchcraft, magic of all sorts. So, yeah, there were definitely signs.
I love that.
Yeah, you can probably relate.
Yes.
And yeah, but I was an athlete for a very long time. I started professional dancing, competitive ballroom dancing when I was 7 years old. And so my entire childhood from that moment on, and youth and early adulthood was completely focused on sport. So there was not a lot of time and space for my spiritual development. My life was pretty focused on that. I always thought it would be my career. Didn't turn out that way, which I'm happy about. Yeah, so really, I would say my mid-20s. This is when things shifted, when I suddenly had free time. After I stopped dancing, I was suddenly able to, read books. I mean, I read books before as well, but read books that I was interested in or that were like calling me. So that's when it all started. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the space, like you need that space be made to have like more
Mhm.
presence and actually intention. I think I know what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah.
of course, we all like do things and read books, but
Yeah.
like there's a different space and like presence and intention behind doing it in that type of situation versus when you're putting all your energy and effort towards something else, like the dance career.
Yes, exactly. And also, you know, you read books for entertainment and you read books for knowledge and deep dives into these topics that your heart feels called by. And that was definitely a switch. I used to read a lot of books for entertainment up to that moment, but from that moment on, only a few entertainment books. Like my library is just full with spiritual and metaphysical esoteric stuff.
I love that. Do you have a favorite?
Oof, that's a difficult question because they change, all the time. I would say that the Convoluted Universe series of Dolores Cannon, my hypnosis teacher, is definitely and will always be right up there. I think it's incredible material, fantastic stuff. 5 books, I believe. And
Hmm.
I was so sad when I finished the last book because this feeling
Yes.
Yeah.
when yeah, and you wish you could delete it from your mind so you could dive into it again.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
finishing a TV show. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, like there's not another episode. Like there's no new season.
Exactly, exactly. I can recommend that series for sure. And I personally loved the Seth material quite a lot. I don't know if you're aware of it, Jane Roberts. It's
Hmm. I don't think I
um
know that one.
it's channeled material from the 60s, 70s. Um, Quite extraordinary and like a landmark material at the time. It's quite extraordinary. And The Law of One, of course. That's also a book series, 5 books as well, I believe, that are super profound and have helped me a lot in understanding the world we live in here better.
And it's so fascinating because those are so the law one, that one's definitely on my list. I have not been able to
Mm,
dive into that yet. But those are like they stand the test of time. Like it doesn't matter
yeah,
when they were channeled. Like
yeah,
you read it now and you're like, whoa, that
yeah,
makes like that's it. That makes sense.
exactly. That I also believe is a great seal of, quality when it's timeless. And The Law of One certainly deserves that. The Seth material as well. And it's not easy to read, though, The Law of One, so be warned. Uh, it's quite technical, like the way that the collective that is coming through in these books, Ra, is communicating is quite specific and special. Not easy to read,
Yes.
but so worth it. So worth it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because we had a mentor that sent us some information on in human design, like the Godhead, and our
Hmm.
Godhead is Thoth. And she sent us some information on this Thoth Godhead and this gate. And I like
Right.
immediately responded and was like, this sounds like channeled like Law of One Ra. And she was like, yes, I know. And she's like, I know, but just give it a read. I'm like, this is like weird. It's like hard to digest. Like you read it, but it takes time to actually process like what
Yeah.
you're reading.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes you have to read it twice or 3 times, right? Before you can move on to the next section. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So digging into books, you have 2 books, Soul Journeys, but I kind of want to start with Soul Journeys. Like, how did you create Soul Journeys and develop this method or your own version of QHHT?
Hmm. Well, in the beginning, I was a QHHT practitioner. This is what I learned, what I studied, what I practiced. And I did that for a few years. And over time, I realized that we're living in a very, very turbulent, dynamic time, and that things, working with clients seem to change over time. Like what my clients needed, required, experienced in their sessions was changing. And so I realized that I need to change the way I work as well. But when you study a modality like QHHT, it's quite fixed, which also is that way because the person who created it is no longer with us on this plane. So naturally, right, um, development is difficult unless someone else takes over and does it. But I couldn't wait for that. So I was given very strong messaging by my team, my higher self, my guides, that I need to work on what I'm doing. And so from that, naturally, organically, something was created out of what I started out with. And that is now the transformative soul journey, the modality that I offer, and that I also get to offer online and remotely because that's not possible with QHHT, or it's not allowed. So now I have created the liberty for myself, the freedom to do that. And that has put me in touch with so many wonderful people all over the world, who I now have the opportunity and privilege to work with over great distances. Yeah. Which is why I'm
Okay.
teaching it as well. Now I
Oh,
started
that's
teaching.
incredible.
Yeah. It's I've been a dance teacher for almost 2 decades, and I'm a communicator soul. So it's only natural for me to teach whatever, to pass on, I should say. Let's keep it general, to pass on what I learned, what I experienced, what I um, collect along the way. And so teaching it's quite natural to me. And it was very obvious that at some point I need to start teaching it because my waiting list was getting longer and longer. There were more and more people who wanted to experience my modality. And not everyone wants to wait a year for an appointment. So I thought, okay, I have to teach this. I have to teach it to others so that they can do the same thing and people don't have to wait that long for their appointments. Yeah.
And you teach that, is it an online, like asynchronous format? Is it live?
For now, it's an online course. It's produced and everyone can join, participate. But at some point, I will definitely host live trainings because I love working with people in person. That's what I always loved about the dance training as well. And it's definitely on the list. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, it's great. I know like Lacey and I have like we have people in our network that have explored like training under QHHT and like
Mhm.
they're like, "Oh, but I also really want to be able to do this remote." And Lacey and I are always like, "Well, soul journeys." Like we always recommend we're like, "Well, we're just saying like we do know of somebody that I personally think you would probably connect with that type of training style."
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And yes, I think in the world we live in today, it's important to be able to work remotely. I mean, I get there are a lot of people out there who will always prefer to work in person, and of course I respect that, and of course I offer that as well. But a lot of people would not have an opportunity if remote work was not possible. So I think it's very, very important.
Yes. I'm curious, is there anything you do to prepare for your sessions with clients?
Well, apart from preparing the questions, the list, the material that my clients sent me, um, I have a ritual that I go through, if that's what you mean.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, I connect with my team, my guides, my higher self, and as well with the team of the other person that I am about to work with. And that's about it. I used to do more stuff, but now I've kind of condensed it into a very time efficient and very yeah, lovely little ritual I do, and that kind of contains it all. Yeah.
It makes sense. We were just having a conversation too about like the things we used to do like early
Hmm.
on in our journeys versus what we do now. And I feel like there was always this perception of like you need to meditate X amount of time and you need to do
Mm.
XYZ before a session. And now um it's very like you very much sit back into trust more than anything.
Yeah.
And that you don't need to do anything outside of your ordinary routine or anything extensive at least.
Yeah, I would agree completely. It makes sense, right? When you start out, you need structure and you need security, right? And then the more time passes, you're able to really lean on your trust, your faith, and your abilities as well. And so yeah, I can totally agree with that. Plus, there's no time, right?
Right. I always say, we always say linear time, like the construct of time is always going to be like the biggest obstacle. Yeah. At least for us, I feel like
Yeah,
that's my biggest, like growth edge, I guess, is like not getting wrapped up in time.
yeah, that's a big one for sure. It's so mean at times the way that time behaves. But I have to say, I have been experimenting with stretching time, and the results have been quite interesting. So I'm not ready yet to like uh,
Chair.
give some, yeah, I have to do a bit more research, but I feel like it's possible to stretch time deliberately.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I like that. I'll be intrigued to see like what comes out of that because yeah, it's a hefty one and it's very hefty for even clients that we work with, right? It's like time's the biggest scarcest resource sometimes that we all
Mm,
have.
it is for sure. There are a lot of days when I wish the day had 48 hours instead of 24. And none of these extra hours would be sleep. I can
I
tell you
know. Yeah,
that.
exactly. We Lacey, don't worry, everybody. Lacey and I have a whole channel message on your 8 hour minimum of sleep and why it's not always that helpful. Yeah. I
Yeah.
had it's what I call 2 a.m. conversations with my spirit team where I'm like, wow, I never thought of it that way. Like then I'm like, I need to write this up and post it. This just like the epiphanies and um
Oh, interesting. I have to have a look at that because
yeah.
you know what? A few years ago, I did another experiment um, regarding something I learned from the Seth material, actually, the Jane Roberts books from the 60s and 70s, because the entity that was channeled at the time, Seth, he recommended that um, a different sleep cycle would actually be much better for human beings,
Oh.
physically, emotionally, mentally, and energetically as well. And the cycle suggested to sleep just 4 hours and then 1 hour during the day.
Oh
So,
wow.
yeah.
I
And
like that.
it was great, actually. It was great. I felt so good. I didn't need more sleep. It was very important, though, to get that 1 extra hour during the day, because if you didn't have that, not a good idea.
That that's fascinating. I'm definitely gonna have to read that because I haven't like posted or put it out into the world yet.
Mhm.
I was actually gonna put it in our membership discussion. But I was having like last week I was having one of those like restless nights where like I'm
Hmm.
not tired. Like I was like I'm not tired at all.
Yeah.
And I started to go into the like hamster wheel of like you have to do this tomorrow, and then you have this event that you have to leave the house at this time for, and like and then like I slowed it down, and my spirit team was like, hold on a minute, Lacey, like this is a 3D programming like belief system that you have, that like if you don't have this amount of sleep, you're like something terrible is going to happen to you. They're
Yeah.
like, we need you to like step out of that and actually look at like how your body, your physical body's integrating different frequencies and energies and things that you're working on right now. And maybe your body just doesn't need it right now. Like you just didn't need it that night. And I was like, oh my
Right.
gosh, why? Like this is incredible. I need to share this with everyone because I hadn't thought of it in that way. But it is,
Yeah.
kind of it's kind of part of our programming, right?
100%, 100%. And I had to go through this as well at the time. I was like, oh my God, but I need 7 hours. I need 8 hours, to function. So not true. So not true. I was functioning beautifully. And actually, the most important and fascinating aspect of the experiment was that I was able to use my clear senses in a much clearer and more effective way. Because the argument was that it's not really helpful for human consciousness to have these blocks, right? Of like
Yeah.
8 hours sleep and the rest waking. If you break it up into smaller pieces, your consciousness is much more fluid and it's able to dance on the different layers, of awareness much more easily. And I can really confirm that. I was suddenly seeing auras everywhere. I was hearing stuff just because I lived a different rhythm of waking and sleeping consciousness. I had a lot of access to other realms. And so I can highly recommend it if you can afford it logistically, if you're able to have this 1 hour during the day where you need to take a nap, highly recommend it. It's probably not realistic for a lot of people out there, unfortunately, but if it is, try it out. It's really worth it.
Like that. And it also moves us beyond that attachment. Like we have such attachment as humans. The 8 hour,
Yeah.
7 to 8 hours is an attachment I think we have.
Yeah. It
Just
has been
like,
hammered into our brains, right? Yeah.
oh yeah, just like so many other things that we get really attached to. But I think as much as we like when we move away from that, it's incredible. Like the results you can see like just through the like co-creative process.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
you are right about the consciousness thing because like I received so many like downloads and different like teachings and channeled messages, and I did learn a lesson on creating more stillness in my life. I was like, okay, lesson learned on that because I was like, apparently there was a lot they needed to tell me and I was not making the space for it.
Yeah.
But it just was very um it was very helpful, and I realized like, okay, like the access that I had was very different energetically, and because I didn't have any distractions at that point. It was like the middle of the night and I was just laying there and it was like, oh, I'm just receiving the information, and I didn't need to. I think the biggest thing I tell people is I didn't need to do anything with it. Like I didn't need
Mm.
to write it down. I didn't need to like pull out my phone. I just needed to receive it and trust that
Mhm.
like I can integrate this and share this at the right time. And I don't need to like panic about forgetting it or
Yeah.
panic about like immediate action.
I love that. That's, yeah, quite profound and important to remember that not everything, right, always needs to be written down. I can relate very much because so many ideas come during the day, so many thoughts, and sometimes I'm stressed, like I don't want to lose it. I have to write it down, and I'm working on that as well, so I can relate.
Yes.
Yeah. It will come back, at the right
Yeah.
time if it's really meant to be shared, or it will naturally develop into something. Yeah.
Yes. We just said that at the same time. I do want to ask about, do you have like I don't, this is probably gonna be hard for you to pick, but do you have like a piece of advice or guidance that you have seen given time and time again in client sessions that you feel like is like the best piece of advice that you feel like you would give everyone?
Well, I feel like you just gave it when you said that, you get the message from your team to find more time for stillness. That would be it. That would be it. It's
Okay.
probably the number one piece of advice that is given in the sessions I facilitate. And I understand why, because the world we live in nowadays, it's so easy to get distracted, right? To get overwhelmed, to get stressed, and that cuts you off from your support team, from your guides, from your higher self specifically. They can only communicate with you effectively if you listen, if you find the time to listen, if you make space to drown out the noise, right? That's when you're able to receive the signal. And yeah, that would be it. Very, very important to do. If that is your goal, of course, if you want to connect with your higher guidance, with your higher self, then this would be the first thing to implement. Yeah.
That makes sense. Um, I am curious, so I want to transition over to talk just a little bit about your books and the information you've received and shared, because
Mhm.
as I told you before we were live, but for everybody listening, um, these books are incredible. So Soul Journeys, Beyond Space and Time with the Superconscious, and then Soul Journeys, Starseeds and the New Earth. They are the most recommended. So whenever we work with clients and they're looking for more information to consume, whether it's starseed information or just like higher self information, we always recommend these books because they were foundational on our journey and very synchronistic, right? In how they were written, for at least for us, and I think
Mhm.
they are for many people. I am curious though, if we look at your specifically at the star seeds and new earth information that you shared, did you have like were you receiving information on like star seeds and new earth prior to that coming into your sessions, or did it just start showing up over and over in sessions where people were talking about like galactic lifetimes and talking about new earth consciousness?
Well, I had contact with these topics prior to my practice. However, it was just here and there, information that I started getting into with my best friend, but it was very far away, and the work brought it a lot closer. So that's when it really, really started. I guess my own session, the one that I experienced, it was quite profound because I I was guided to my own galactic place of origin, you could say, or not origin, but the place I consider my home, on a galactic level. So that was quite profound and surprising, I have to say, because I was not expecting that at the time. So that's when it started really and deeply, and that's when all the wonderful stories and experiences came to me that you find in the book that you mentioned. And thank you so much for sharing the books with your clients. I appreciate that immensely. I love knowing that the material resonates with you.
Yeah, I mean, I had when Lacey and I both read like at least a Starseed one, I like it was crazy the validation through what was shared in that book. I remember there's specific things that were shared through different sessions, right? Different journeys with
Mm.
clients that were very validating for the experiences I was having and
Mhm.
like the messages and like imagery, things like that. Like I was actively having lucid dreams that directly like lined up and aligned with what was shared in that book. And obviously I
Oh,
had these
wow.
lucid dreams before I even read that book. So then like reading the book, I'd be like, oh my God, that's the dream I had where they told me this. Like
Amazing. See, I love hearing about that because I typed it up, sent it out into the world, and it's just so beautiful to know that. It's yeah, my heart is beaming. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, absolutely. And we were talking to Mario before we went live and saying how like the synchronicities of the book lined up with things in our lives, whether it was the part in the book where someone was talking about the analogy of eating pizza and the cheese, and we were literally a pizza coming out of the oven right when she read that part, right down to today's interview and how we rescheduled it to today because Mario had a planned or had a scheduled power outage, and then we ended up having tornadoes and storms that created a power outage yesterday that wouldn't have made the interview possible. So like synchronicities beyond synchronicities, but
Mhm.
I think that the topic of New Earth and Starseeds can get really confusing for people, and it's hard to find something that's resonant. At least it was for us because we had read other books. Nothing against other books, but we couldn't see ourselves in them, if that made sense. Like it wasn't relational. Whereas when we read your books, we saw ourselves in them and we actually could relate. And that's why I think that's one of the biggest parts of why we still share those books because I'm like, this stands the test of time, and this is
Oh,
what's unfolding on Earth, right? It's what people need these kinds of resources because we certainly needed it when we were at that point in our journey.
yeah. Well, I love knowing that. And I'm so glad the books found their way to you. You know, I always trust that, by the way. I know that whenever I publish something, I know that it will find its way into the right hands. And if it's just one pair of hands out there, then it was all worth it, you know?
Those
Yes.
two twin star seeds in
Or
America.
two, yeah.
That's all it took. I am curious, if you are comfortable sharing, like where do you know like what planet they took you to during your journey?
I don't know which one it is or was at the time, and I have deliberately kept myself from doing research. I don't know why, but there's something in me that says like it's not the time yet,
Mm.
or I it's like a gem I keep for myself, for later in life. I can certainly describe it. It was a pink planet. What's the English word for that color? Magenta, right?
Mm.
Magenta. Yeah, magenta colored planet. Very crystally, but with plants. Crystal plants in a way. It's quite interesting. And the population was what's the English word? Sorry.
No, no, okay.
I've been talking German all morning, that's why. Mantis beings. So that I know.
Okay.
A mantis
Yeah.
civilization, which was
Yep.
super interesting to me because I had not heard of those prior to the session. So
Mm.
I was able to connect the dots after. And when I learned it's a thing, apparently.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, that's what I know. It was very emotional, very beautiful place. I didn't want to return back into my human body. I remember that. But I had to, and I did. And yeah, but I will explore it further at some point when the time is right. How about
Makes
you
sense.
guys?
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. So
Oh,
I will say after I read both of your books, that is what prompted me to book a QHHT session.
okay.
Um, and I did do a traditional QHHT
Uh-huh.
with someone in person. Um,
Amazing.
I Yeah, actually it was really a really great connection. Like I literally found her on their website and she was like, "How did you even find me?" And I was like, I talked to her on the phone and it was just the right like soul meeting of like this is the
Yeah,
person to take this journey with me.
right.
Um, I Probably one of the best things I've ever done in my spiritual journey. But I was taken to so I did my session first, she did hers after mine. During
Hmm.
the session, of course, I was trying to ask questions about her as well, and they were like, "Stop it! Like, stop asking about Marley." But they
Because
said it was classified information, to
yes.
be clear. That's what
Ah.
they said. Oh, that's literally what my higher self said. They literally like I hit a wall and it was like classified. You can't access that. That's Marley's.
Right.
But because because we were born on different days. Like we have different birthdays. And so when we were born, Marley was supposed to be born first. I was supposed to be second. But we like
Hmm.
flipped in the womb and then I was born first.
Ooh,
She was born second. So I was very
interesting.
fascinated with this and how our incarnations kind of were designed because of us
Hmm.
being twins and having different birthdays. But essentially I connected to a Lyran planet as like my kind of like my soul origins or lineage. They didn't look like your typical like feline beings. They were more like pink
Right.
beings. It was more of a
Oh.
pink planet. They were very high energy. And I channeled a ton of information about like why we incarnated together
Hmm.
and different lifetimes I had had that didn't quite work out the way they wanted them to, and so like they put Marley and I together for our mission in this lifetime. And then Marley, do
Right.
you want to share?
Yeah.
Do you want to share yours?
Mine was a little bit different.
Well, it's like so funny because whenever you do this stuff, you're like, it's not in a way, it's not new information, only from the aspect of like energetically, you're like, that makes sense. That's
Yeah,
like that's who I am,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
It clicks it.
um, so and like with Lacey and I, Lacey has different energy than I do, and we that's where we balance each other out. But like, mine was very much like creating and growing new planets, and then mine were all like blue beings, like half kind of animal, half humanoid type beings, which was
Hmm.
very much what I had been experiencing and seeing in dream states and stuff. And then like they did show me like meeting Lacey, like meeting these pink beings and um how we kind of how the different I guess races, if that's what you want to call it, like kind of
Right.
merged and like integrated
Hmm.
into each other's cultures and ways of being, which is it made a lot of sense.
I love that. That's so cool. So you know your background story.
Yes, which was not easy because being twins, we kind of like in the beginning we were like, well, we must be from the same planet and all these things, and then
Ah,
we're
yeah.
like, no, that's really that's really like human to think. That's not
Yeah.
how it worked. But yeah, we do notice the differences because I have more of the told my practitioner this too. I'm like, I will jump in, like I will just it's like that old like warrior energy.
That's so
I re
Lyran.
Yeah, it is. She always says I
that.
always say that, and I'm like, I'm Syrian, so like, I'm always like,
Ah,
and I told the
okay.
practitioner, I was like, look, you're gonna have to wade me in. I'm not gonna jump into the deep end. I gotta feel the temperature first. I gotta
Yeah.
make sure I'm comfortable, and then I'll go in. Like,
Yeah. It's a different
I,
journey.
it is. I slipped into a trance so quickly when I came out of it. She was like, I didn't believe you when you told me that, and I've never had a client do what you did. Like she was like, I should have believed you. Like she's like, you weren't kidding. You just jumped right into the trance really quickly. So it's a great experience. But I do think the remembrance is really important, especially for a lot of people navigating their starseed, or not just starseed, but their spiritual journeys right now to understand kind of like what are you doing here? What's the bigger picture of what we're all like what are we all contributing to right now on Earth?
Yes. Nailed it. You nailed it. Especially because there's so many here now at this time. And we still have the veil of forgetting in place. So it's important that we find ways to remember as quickly as possible, right? Um, so quantum hypnosis is a great tool for that. And I love knowing that you had beautiful experiences in your sessions. And did you do it on the same day or the day
No,
after?
we were like a week apart. Maybe like a
A
week
week apart
apart.
with the same
Yeah.
practitioner?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Oh,
Yes.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a really cool experience.
Mhm. Did you get everything that you needed at the time, or did you ever consider maybe having a second journey at some point? Or do you
I think
maybe don't need to do it anymore?
I think I would 100% do another one. I think that I don't feel like I'm ready for it yet, but
Hmm.
I felt like I got like everything that I needed, like and more
And
from that
more.
session
Okay.
because
Yeah.
yeah, it just was really like they answered every question but provided I feel like this is one of those things where you go into a session and you're like, here are my questions, but then like the answers you receive are like more than what you could have like wished for, and it explains
Yeah.
even more than what you really were like asking, kind of thing is how I felt about it.
Yeah. That happens quite often, I have to say. It speaks for, you know, the quality of your connection as well, that more could come through, but probably also for the quality of your practitioner at the time, you know. It's we I think I can speak for my people. You know, we always try to get as much information as possible for the person that we're working with and for. So that's great. I love knowing that.
Yeah. I would do it again too, I think. I agree though. I don't think I'm like ready yet, but
Hmm.
um maybe sometime in the future. I think it depends on what I'm seeking, but yeah, it was a great experience. Like I know we always I feel like recommend it to people. Like I'm like I try it. Like I recommend try if you feel like you're ready, as long as you're not gonna like talk yourself, get too in your head about it, I think.
Yeah, that's important. And in my experience, you know, you hear the call, like the calling to it. Um, Most of my clients, they just know they have to have this experience. There's no question about it. And so usually those sessions are very profound. Yeah.
So I do have a question about your mission and purpose. So we do a lot of work in Twin Essence around mission and purpose. And so I'm curious what you consider your mission and purpose in this lifetime.
Spreading awareness for the connection that exists between the incarnated human being and their greater self. That for sure is my mission in this incarnation. And I'll probably do it until the day I die. Until the day I'm out of here, I will not stop talking about it to everyone who wants to hear about it, because I think it's a very important thing to do, you know, to become aware of your greater self, knowing that that's not all you are. You know, there's so much more out there, and you can actually connect to it and communicate with it and receive guidance, help, assistance. And I think that's very needed at this time of our Earthian story.
Oh, beautifully put. As we always
Thanks.
say, clarity on a mission. Clarity on a mission is, I think, the best thing like that you could ever have. I mean, I always say, I know we said this in the last interview we did too, but it is like it's like orienting like an arrow, like precision. You can just go for it, right? Like that's how
Yeah.
Lacey and I feel too with our own mission. Like, and when you do things from a place of like mission, it's so greater than yourself, and there's no resistance to it. So that's why like today, when Lacey and I get up really early to do an interview like this, there's no resistance for us. We always say like we would do
Mm.
these interviews in the middle of the night if when because we know like when we know like this is a connection and this conversation needs to be had, it's greater than us. It's the mission.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. And you know when something is aligned, right? With what you came to do here. And that can evolve over time as well, right? I remember when I started out with this work, my focus was much more on the information that came through, you know, like from a journalistic sense, point of view, like the incredible, mind-blowing info. And then over time, it shifted more towards the tool, you know, the channel, receiving itself, not so much what is coming through, but more that it's possible to receive and communicate. And so it became a much more grounded mission, I guess you could say. And the beginning was just the entry point to it.
That makes sense. We always say that too. Missions evolve as you evolve.
Yeah.
And oftentimes like
that common thread is still there, like underlying whatever it is you're doing, like to where you are now. Like it's just, you change, you create the vehicle that you drive the mission in, and the vehicle can change over time, right?
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
So I do want to transition over to a couple spiritual game, a little spiritual would you rather, if you're down for
Ooh, yes.
that. Because these can be kind of funny. To wrap up. But okay, so I will give you the spiritual would you rather scenarios, and you're gonna let us know what you would do.
All right.
Okay. Okay. So would you rather physically see spirits or only be able to hear them?
Is it either or?
Yeah, we're
Yes.
mutually exclusive in these scenarios.
Okay, hearing.
Okay. Yeah. I think I go hearing too because like if you see them and you can't communicate like other than seeing them, I feel like what are you gonna do? Like
Exactly right. You have to create some kind of sign language.
I mean, you do really good at like picking up on nonverbal body language and
Right.
communication cues.
Yeah, no, I'm all about efficiency. So let me hear it. What do you have to say? Talk to me. Like, I don't need to see you. Just, yeah,
It's
definitely.
that communicative soul thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Would you rather live on a ley line or travel to inner Earth?
Ooh, travel to inner Earth
Mhm.
for sure.
Inner Earth, 100%.
Yeah.
Inner Earth for me too. The ley line thing, like we've actually Ireland. We went like in Ireland with our ley line experience. But
Right.
it's I find it very disorienting.
Yeah, and also, that's such a big mystery. Like inner Earth for sure. Like that's a fascinating slice of this world to explore for sure.
Yes, we did when we went to Ireland, we did go to a castle that was built on ley lines. And
Hmm.
that was yeah, I was like, I don't know how people sleep here.
Like the
Oh wow,
towers,
okay. Uh-huh.
like the towers were on the ley line, and then like the light fixture would like naturally like a pendulum.
Yeah.
And it was a very haunted castle. Like we were there for paranormal things, so we were like communicating
Okay.
with spirits and stuff. But it was
Uh-huh.
like that bedroom in particular with the ley line and then like the spinning light. Like I felt like it was a lot.
Yeah, I'm not sure it would be a pleasant experience long time, right? Like long term, living in a spot like that. Visit maybe, yeah, but not living.
Right. Would you rather get stuck in the fairy realm or a portal on your property?
Or could you repeat?
A portal on your property.
A portal to where?
I think like any of the realms, any realm.
Oh,
Like
um,
fairy, so either like you go to the fairy realm and get stuck
yeah.
or have a portal that where anything could basically come onto your property.
Ah, okay. So stop. Okay. I don't like the thought of being stuck. That doesn't sound right to me. I would probably want to live the adventure of being surprised by the portal.
Yeah, I think the fairy realm, yeah, I wouldn't want to be stuck in the fairy realm. I think it'd be cool to visit.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
agree.
Yeah.
Um,
I've
oh,
had quite a number of sessions that took place there.
oh,
Um, all my clients had journeys to the fairy realm. So I almost feel like I've been there, and yeah, no, I would like to come back again.
yeah. That's actually really cool though that clients have connected to that part of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are quite a lot of avatars walking around out there who have ties to the fairy realm.
I like that.
Mhm.
All right. Let's see. Would you rather be able to see everyone's aura all the time or be able to hear everyone's spirit guides whispering advice to them?
Oh yeah, the advice for sure.
I love that. I am very intrigued. Like I think it would be really interesting to like witness someone receiving like spirit guidance.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically what happens in the sessions. You know, it's my bread and butter, so to speak, to witness this. Um, and I'm working on creating a process, that makes it easier to do that in waking consciousness. So that's definitely more connected to that. I would love, yeah, to experience that. Mhm.
Very cool.
All right. Okay, last one. Would you rather
No.
have what? I can do more.
It's
I have
fun.
more. We have
Oh,
more. I have
please.
more.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna do okay, let's do this one. One is always like a really interesting to see how people respond to it. Would you rather live in a silent monastery or live in the middle of Times Square in New York City?
Monastery.
Really?
Yeah.
So I like this always fascinates me. So why would you choose a silent monastery?
I can't exist in crowded spaces anymore.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I was able to do that when I was younger and I craved it almost. I wanted to be where everything was happening. And now, oh my God, you couldn't like kick me there. It's uh no, I don't enjoy being surrounded by I mean if empty Times Square or crowded Times Square.
I don't know if Times Square is ever empty. I
Either-
feel like
Okay,
it's
so with the
always
people,
full.
with
Yeah.
the people. Okay, no, 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 no. Give me the monastery any day.
Empty Times Square. That's a good one, Mario. I will say with this question, um what's funny is because like in my day-to-day life, like I don't like too much stimulation. I can say that. Like I'm like,
Hmm.
turn off like TV, turn off music. Like it's like I want less stimulation. But we actually did go to Times Square for the first time in December. Um, I like thrived on the energy of Times Square. I don't know why. It was
Oh,
a really
wow.
weird
It was
thing.
exciting.
It was exciting. I don't know, and I will say too, that's also really weird, at least for Lacey and I, because I feel like we're very like we're kind of similar in that like, you go do something where there's like a lot of people or something, and then it's like you're worn out. Like you're just
Hmm.
like we're kind of homebodies. Like we do like to have our time to ourselves. Like I always joke, like I do one thing on a weekend and I'm like, all right, that was my social outing for the month. Like,
Yes. Yeah, I can relate. Like, I used to live in a big city up to 2 years ago. So I had that. And at some point I couldn't be there anymore. I didn't feel good. I felt exhausted, what you were describing every day, very heavy, and I realized it's not the place anymore. So now I live very remotely in the country, in the mountains,
yeah.
forests, and I'm so happy, so happy here. Um, go grocery shopping, that's my social outing.
Love it.
And I do look forward to it every now and then, when I've been here by myself for a long time. I do look forward to driving into town and doing my shopping, but that's about it. Like I don't need crowds anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, I feel like I couldn't live in Times Square, but I do certainly there's an energy to it. There's like a weird,
Yeah.
it's just I found it for the first time being there in December. That's the only thing I can base it on. I found it very freeing because like nobody cares. Like I don't know how to say
Hmm.
that. Like there's all these influencers and like nobody cares like what they look like. They're just like dancing on the street. They're like
Right.
interviewing people that are walking by. Like it's very creative and it's very energetic to me. I don't know. It was a really interesting experience.
I get that. I think I was there once when I was 17, 16, 17, and then again in my mid 20s. And both of the times I enjoyed it, I was much younger and I can see the appeal and it's certainly a very special spot. It is. It has
Yeah.
like it's famous for a reason.
Yeah.
And not only for the obvious reasons, the lights and the spectacle. Like, and there's something to it for
Yes.
sure.
Yes. It's like I feel like it's alive. Like that's how I describe it. Like
Hmm.
but also like I mean, I don't know, we've heard rumors about like the city has like a quartz mine under it or something. I don't know. Energetically, I just think
Ooh,
there's something
okay.
there. I think there's something there, and that's why people can go there and it it does something for them.
That would make sense that there's something under under it. Oh yeah. Oh my God, that would be interesting to research in a
Yeah.
session.
Yeah, I don't know what the truth is
Or
to that.
remote view.
Yeah, yeah. And especially because we were warned by like a couple of different spiritual workers who were like, "Oh, like the energy of the city is really overwhelming. You're probably going to get overwhelmed." I had the opposite reaction to it. I was like, "Why are people overwhelmed?" Like I understand that it's always alive and moving, but I was like, I I thrived on it. Maybe that's just like me being a sacral and like liking the energy like a magnet. But yeah, really interesting.
Goes to show that it's super individual, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah. And you have to kind of have to find the places that work for you, resonate with you. And to do that, you have to go there, right?
Yeah.
So you have to try it out, put your toe in there. Yeah.
All right, another question. Would you rather have a 1 hour conversation with your future self 20 years from now, or have a 1 hour conversation with your most prominent past life self?
Future self. Yeah.
Yourself always wins.
Yeah. Well, I can see why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Curiosity, right?
Yes. And also the future self, it would give you more, mm, it could be really valuable information to receive from your future self. I mean, from your past selves as well, but that I assume that's just one past self in one other incarnation, right? And
Yeah.
the future self is me in this current, yeah, future self. Yeah.
Definitely. And then
Mhm.
your last one, and this one's a funny one. This one's, I don't know, this one always makes me laugh. Would you rather always smell like high quality frankincense no matter what? And key there, it's high quality. Not just any frankincense, the highest quality you can get.
Okay.
Or have your internal monologue broadcasted as a podcast for 1 hour every day.
Oh God, that's a hard one because
It's hard.
I hate frankincense. I can't stand it. I can't. I know it's high frequency, it's great, people love it, but I can't stand it. I can't. I feel I had another lifetime in which I bumped heads with the Catholic Church. I think.
I was gonna say there's some religious trauma coming up.
Yeah, there is. And can you imagine we had this religion class, I don't know what to call it in English, like it prepares you for the Holy Communion, as a
Oh,
child. And the priest that held this class, he was doing the frankincense thing every time each week, and I almost passed out and died. I could not stand it, but I was also not allowed to leave the room, so I had to be in
Yeah.
there, and it was torture. So, but the inner monologue, not that great either, I have to say.
not that great, but maybe you could like broadcast at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Well, like an easy time where we're like I'm most like myself in the morning. Like we'll broadcast in the morning, like or
I'm not
night.
sure anyone would want to hear that. Like it's so there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But I'll choose that anyways. Yeah.
I always imagine like if somebody were to listen to that for myself, the same hour every day, they'd be like, why is she still thinking about the same thing? Like she's still on the same loop. You know what I mean?
Right. And that is what your higher self is hearing
Yes.
24/7. So you have an audience that is actually listening to every single word. And I can hear my audience, yeah, complain about my inner
You're like,
monologue.
the viewership is low. We have low ratings there now.
Yes. And bad feedback. Or
Would
not
definitely make
always.
you, yeah, it would definitely make you more honest with sharing like thoughts and stuff because it'd be all out there.
Yes. I mean, that's already happening. You know, I do snap out of it much more easily and sooner as well than I used to do it in the past because I know who's listening. And
Sure.
not because I'm ashamed of it, but just because I like I receive their
Light.
opinion. Exactly. Yeah. Their opinion on it quite immediately now. So it definitely helps in letting go of inner talk, inner conversation that's not helpful. Yeah.
That makes sense. All right. So anything else you want to share or we can wrap up? How can people get in touch with you?
Well, the best ways to do that would either be my Instagram, The Soul Journeys, or my website, thesouljourneys.com. Um, yeah, apart from that, well, some of your viewers or listeners may know that I'm hosting a podcast as well. It's called Playtime with Rufus. So if you want to listen to me having conversations with a higher dimensional non-physical collective, check it out. It's quite interesting. It's like a project of the heart to me as well. So much fun. Apart from that, I would just like to say thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been such a joy and pleasure, yeah, to talk to you. We could easily do 1 more hour, right? At
I could
least.
ask you 100 more things. One of those ones where I'm like, wait, maybe in the future we're gonna have a part two.
Ooh, yes. Well, let me know. I'm
Yeah,
up for it anytime.
Yes.
absolutely. All right, all. Thank you for joining us live. You can check out Mario and connect with him via Instagram, his website. Everything is linked below. You'll be able to find his books, his course, his podcast with Playtime with Rufus. Everything's going to be linked below and connected to his website.
If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. You can also connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok at Twin Essence LLC.
And if you're looking to work with us one-to-one, we recommend jumping over to the Starseed Portal membership, where you can connect with us in a community group of Starseeds, Lightworkers, Mystics, Seekers, all of the above that are navigating their Starseed awakenings and ascension journeys. That is all linked below on twinessence.com. We will see you all next time on April 28th at 5:30 p.m. CST. We are going to have Brooke Elizabeth on, and she is going to talk to us about the spiritual side of psychedelics. So, very interesting topic that we're intrigued by and want to dig into. Thank you all for joining. We will see you next time.